Welcome back to another start to finish build. Today I'm going to make this solid wood bench with hidden storage, except I'm going to make some improvements on this original. The goal is to make this new bench longer and wider to fit this new mirror I installed, and also do a better job with the upholstery because, yeah, not my best. Now, I know building furniture can seem intimidating, but this is actually a really simple build. You just start by buying some bench legs and then ripping down some wood to fit the height of the flat part at the top of the legs. If you don't have a table saw, just pick the widest pre-cut piece of wood that will fit your legs. So if the flat part of the leg is 4 inches tall, buy a 1x4 board. Then cut your boards to length. And for more info on how to calculate all these measurements, check out the link in the description for the free plans. Now, to make things simple, we're constructing this bench with pocket holes. I like to choose the uglier side of each board to make my pocket holes in because they'll face the inside of the storage bench with the pretty part facing out. Again, I have all the hole placements marked in the free plans in the description. Then it's time to attach the boards to the legs. Now, I like to recess the boards a little bit from the legs, but that's totally optional. I just think it looks fancier. To do that, I lay down a 1/2 inch thick piece of plywood and lay the boards on top when I screw them into the legs. Just remember to keep all of your pocket holes facing the interior of the bench so they'll be hidden from view. Once the frame is ready, take a 1/4 inch thick piece of plywood, lay the frame upside down on top, and trace the outline inside. Then cut out the outline, and this will become the base of the storage compartment. Do a quick dry fit to check that it actually slots into the frame before you keep building. Since this is just 1/4 inch plywood, you'll need some extra supports below. You can use scrap plywood, or I had some scrap 1x lying around that was already a good width. So I just cut it to length, added some pocket holes, and then screwed them in. Now you can flip over your base and do one last dry fit for your 1/4 inch plywood. Sometimes screwing in the supports can warp the frame, so it's always a good idea to double check again. Then pop it out, add some glue to the top of each support, pop the insert back in, and secure it to the supports with 3/4 inch brad nails. And now the base is complete. Last step is the lid. I do recommend using sturdy 3/4 inch plywood if you ever plan to sit on the bench, especially if you're making a long one like I am. But the good news is that it doesn't need to be fancy, expensive plywood because you won't see any of these ugly knots once it's upholstered. Just cut it to the width and length of your bench frame and make sure it fits. If you're imperfect like me, your plywood insert will have some gaps along the edges, so I filled mine with brown caulk to match the stain I plan to use. If you plan to paint the inside instead, just use normal paintable caulk. And if you're staining like me, now is the time to water pop. This just means rubbing the raw wood with some water, which will raise the grain of the wood and make it feel rough to the touch. Once it's dry, you'll sand away the roughness. This way, when you add your stain later, the wood stays smooth instead of turning rough then, because it would be a shame to get this far in the build only to have sandpaper legs on your finished bench. I'll share my favorite water-based stain in the description, which I also used here. It's so easy to work with, and I used 2 coats on the legs and the interior. The outside was already stained and finished because this is scrap from another project. Then I sealed everything with some oil-modified poly. You can use water-based polyacrylic, but I find this to be much more scratch-resistant, which is good because my cats love to play around these benches. You'll need at least 2 coats of poly, sanding lightly with 220 grit in between. And while that dries, you can upholster the lid. Just unwrap your foam, lay the lid on top, and trace it on the foam with a marker. I've seen people cut foam with a hot knife before, but that sounds stinky. So I prefer to use an electric knife, which cuts like butter. Speaking of stinky, this is when I take everything back outside to attach the foam to the lid with spray adhesive, and then I bring it back inside for upholstery. I think one of the reasons why my upholstery was so lumpy last time was because I used poly batting. I've been using cotton batting for a while now, and I find it to be so much smoother and cleaner looking. Plus, I like that it's a natural fiber. Now, fun fact, I still don't know how to sew, which I'm not proud of. But thankfully, this project only requires knowing how to staple. I don't even use a fancy electric stapler, just a little handheld one, and then I hammer in any staples that don't sink all the way into the plywood. Once I get the batting on, I cut off the excess, and then it's time for the fun part, fabric. I actually really loved the wool plaid on the old bench, but I wanted something with more color this time. So I was so happy to come across a remnant of this wool plaid that was the perfect size for my bench. I like using wool for my upholstery projects because I like natural fibers, but also my cats are less likely to mess with it. I guess it doesn't feel nice under their paws. So expensive wool it is. When you're working with a patterned fabric like this, it's worth taking a lot of time to try to line up the pattern to look as symmetrical and tidy as possible. And when you pull the fabric to staple it, always check that you're not distorting the lines with your pulling. I also took a lot of care with the corners this time, and I'm sure they're not perfect, but they're also a lot better than the lumpy mess they were before. I mean, just look at that difference. Then I hide all of the ugliness with this upholstery backing with, you guessed it, more staples, because it's no one's business the mess that's happening underneath this black barrier. Before I secure the lid, I always like to add some floor protectors to the legs. In this case, I used rubber feet that screw on, which will also keep my cats from sliding the bench around while they do their nighttime parkour. To attach the lid, you just use some small hinges. I like these solid brass ones, and my bench was wide enough that I used 3. So I found the middle first, and then made sure the side hinges were spaced evenly out from it. Half of the hinge should dangle off the back of the cushion, and that half will connect to the back of the bench frame. Now, this part will absolutely be easier if you have an extra set or 2 of hands to hold the lid in position. But if you're doing this solo like me, just use math and measuring to figure out where to pre-drill your side hinge holes so that you can screw in the hinges one-handed later. Once the side hinges are secured, that's when I'll drill and screw in the middle hinge. And there you have it, a perfect, beautiful bench with hidden storage. I made mine pretty shallow because I like to use this storage for my shopping bags as I run out the door. But if you want it deeper, like for shoes, you can choose legs with longer flat sections at the top. I'll link a few options in the description. And yeah, it's no one's business what this black backing looks like, okay? Those wrinkles should smooth out with time, and if not, we'll call it character. And here's a reminder of this bench area before and after. I'm so proud of this build, and I think this bench is now the perfect size for this little nook. But what do you think? Would you ever build a hidden storage bench?